Shabbat Shalom and welcome to this week's installation of Bisselle Torah. We are now edging towards the Torah portion this weekend, this Shabbat, called Emor. And I get great insight from one of the great masters called Sfat Emet, Rabbi Yehuda Leib of Ger, who commented on this week's Sidra using the book of Psalms, where the saying is found, Imarot Hashem Amarot Torot. The utterances of God are pure utterances. And the way he interprets this is extraordinary and powerful. That which connects us on a lateral plane with each other are the words that we speak to and with one another. When we talk to another person, the words that we use define ourselves, and they also attempt to define the other. Our tone, our attitude, the words that we use, the way that we splay them out to other people need to be, says the Sfat Emet, need to be pure utterances, need to be things that are words of God, as opposed to words of the ego, as opposed to words that are trying to put down the other in order to inflate the self. And they define our character, but even more so, they attempt to put another person inside of a metaphorical cage. We entomb them, as it were, with our words. And the antidote to this, the solution to this idiosyncratic way of relating to other people, is precisely as the book of Psalms indicates, that when we use words of God, our words that we use otherwise become pure. When I say otherwise, I'm talking about in other instances. So what are words of God? We are told now, we are told tomorrow, we are told every day of our lives, we are taught by our sages to steep ourselves in words of Torah. Look at the Torah. Read the Torah. Become the Torah. And use the Mefarshim, the various expositors, whether it be Rashi or Rashbam or Maimonides or whatever. And you can find all of this online and in books innumerable that enable the average person to be able to access, in whatever language they speak, there are so many in English, an understanding of what the Holy of Holy Books means. And when we study Torah, when we imbibe Torah, when we drink Torah, when we in it merge and become one, the words that we speak to one another become amarot tahorot, says the book of Psalms. They become utterances of absolute and utter purity. They're not said out of self-investiture. They're not said to malign, defame. They're not said to hurt, but rather they're said in order to bring about an elevation of self and other. What a gift that is to bring to the world. And that's why the Sfat Emet highlights this in this particular passage, in this particular sidra called Emor, because Emor means speak. And that's all that is contained ultimately in how most of us will connect with other people through the patterns of speech that we use. So, to conclude the Sfat Emet's brilliant illumination of this week's Sidra, study Torah. It's your inheritance. It's your gift. It's been willed to you by countless generations, and it's now in your hands, and all of it is accessible. Whether learning with me, online, learning by coming to the synagogue, or picking up a book and reading it, not a novel, but something of substance, a book of Torah. And finally, without even acknowledging it, without even having to work at it, the words emerging out of your mouth shall change dramatically. They will become amarot torot, words of purity, sacred words. Shabbat Shalom.